Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another golden conversation. Today we have another exciting topic to talk about, to inform our senior citizens so they can be empowered to live a better life. Yeah. So stick and stay with us. Stick and stay with us. Don't let us be lonely. Don't let us be lonely for this conversation about loneliness. Alrighty. Okay, so in a few seconds, our guest will be joining us. I am excited to have him on Golden Conversations because he's so knowledgeable when it comes to these topics as it pertains to mental health and just overall wellness and overall well-being and helping us to be better human beings, getting in touch with our inner self. So welcome to another Golden Conversations, just giving some persons time to log on. We understand that when we go live, not everyone will join in immediately. So just letting it mellow, simmer down, giving persons time to click on that button and join in because we want it to be an involved and engaging conversation this evening. So welcome to another Golden Conversations. Welcome. Send the link to your friends, to your relatives, everyone who you know needs this conversation. Ready? Okie dokie. All right, so now I will invite our guest for this evening. Welcome to Paul Smith. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Shellyanne. It's good to be on your program. And let me say hello to all those who are joining us this evening. And hello for those who will be joining us a second or so afterwards.
Great, great, great. We want to see your face though. I think your camera is
All
off.
right.
There you
I'm good.
go. Nice, wonderful, wonderful. So, yes, everyone, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, give us a thumbs up, give us some love, and just invite others to come. Even the picnic them too. Invite the picnic them, right, Mr. Smith?
Oh, yes, everyone is welcome.
Everyone is welcome. This is Golden Conversations, the senior citizens chill spot every second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. And I must say, happy International Women's Day to all the women joining us online and those who will be watching the replay. You are loved, you are special, you are an overcomer. On this evening's conversation, we will be talking about loneliness. We know loneliness affects everyone, but as we do things around here at Golden Designs, we will unpack the layers of loneliness and its impact on older adults. Right, that's our niche. We especially look out for our older adults. To properly guide us on how to remove the triggers of loneliness, with me is Paul Smith, counseling psychologist and doctoral candidate. Thank you, soon to be Dr. Smith, for joining us.
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. My absolute pleasure to be on. And I'm so excited about the topic this evening. You will not begin to imagine.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Share with us why
It-
you're excited more than I am.
it's a population that is dear to my heart. I love the elderly. They are precious. They have a wealth of experience. They are knowledgeable. I think they ought to be nurtured and cared for and pampered. I have a soft spot in my heart for the elderly.
It sounds as if you had a close connection to an elderly relative of yours.
And I have clients who are just absolutely precious. I have relatives who are absolutely precious, elderly relatives. And I just get incensed when they're abused and ill-treated and mistreated and segregated and scorned and ostracized. I get incensed about that because I
And
think
that's
they,
where we
they
have,
deserve much more than that. They are
I
precious.
completely agree with you.
Yeah.
They deserve so much. They have given to us, the world,
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
And it's the reason why we have golden conversations to
Mm-hmm.
empower them so they can
Sure.
continue to be the best versions of themselves.
Awesome.
Let me tell you about our guest. Mr. Smith attended Church Teachers College, Jamaica Theological Seminary, and also the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology. He holds a diploma in teaching Spanish, a bachelor's degree in guidance and counseling, two master's degrees, not one, but two, one in theology and the other in counseling psychology. He is presently pursuing his doctoral degree in clinical psychology. He's also the founder and one of the directors of Love and Restoration Ministries. I'm sure he will have to tell us more about that ministries later in our program.
Oh, yes.
He's also a minister of religion at Love and Restoration Ministries, a marriage officer, a justice of the peace, and a motivational speaker. He will also have to tell us how he manages his time. But the very reason we have this well studied and learned gentleman with us today on International Women's Day to share with us, it goes to show the partnership that we have with men in terms of empowering our women and our elderly. Mr. Smith is a licensed associate counseling psychologist as well as an associate counselor at Family Life Ministries and Choose Life International. He is presently he presently has his private practice. My apologies. He has a private practice as well that is called New Life Counseling and Psychotherapy Services. That is New Life Counseling and Psychotherapy Services that he started. Therefore, followers, viewers, and subscribers, our guest is fully experienced to talk to us about loneliness. Mr. Smith,
Yes.
let's jump right into the discussion.
Oh, sure.
Why is it that many older adults are affected by loneliness?
All right. A number of factors can cause loneliness. And if you will permit me, I just want to lay the foundation for what loneliness is. Right. And in psychology, we say it's a state of mind because it begins in the mind. It starts with the cognition, right? And it is the perception that one has as well. So it is the absence of intimate, deep human connection, right? It is the absence of that, right? And when that is absent, we are all social beings, all of us, young or old, and we want to socialize. We want to have meaningful relationships. We want person to check on us and call us and visit us and be there for us. We want to feel a part of a community, right? When that is absent, it brings in loneliness, feeling isolated. So, isolation is a word that we'll use very often as it relates
Okay.
to loneliness. Yeah, you feel isolated. So you can be among persons, but you still feel lonely
It's
because
interesting that you
yeah,
you say that. So you can be in a household with
mhm,
members but
yes,
still feel lonely.
lonely because there's no connection, right? The connection is not there, right? So you're just living there, but the connection is not there. Conversation is not there. The love might be absent. The caring, the sharing, the nurturing, all of those things that fulfill our human need to feel belonged and to feel loved, they are often absent. So the person just feels isolated, can't connect, can't make
Mm.
connections, and it brings
Mm.
this feeling of loneliness,
Wow, wow.
existing alone, existing on an island, right? That kind
Mhm.
of feeling brings loneliness. So to your question now, sorry for straying.
No, not at all. We're here to unpack loneliness. Of course, give us the details.
Yes, so the elderly, there are different reasons persons become lonely. The elderly might become lonely. And for one, it might be quality of life, poor quality of life.
Mm.
In the sense that, for example, some might not have children. That's for one, right? And you realize that, the children, after a while, they move out, they move away. Sometimes the relationship is just not good. So I've had seniors who have children, five, six, seven, they live alone. You ask them, what of the children? They'll tell us, sir, they don't care about me, right? Long time hear from John. John is abroad for 20 years and I've not heard from John. And when John or Mary call, it's just hi. I might just spend
Mm.
Christmas alone or the holidays I am alone, right? And sometimes when you check it out, there have been some kind of poor quality relationship that might lead up to that. Sometimes you
Mm.
talk and there is resentment, there's hurt, unresolved issues until they
Mm.
move on. Sometimes where the children too can't be bothered in taking care of the elderly. So they move on. They would say that, mommy, daddy, they live their life already. It's time for me to live my life. I can't be bogged down taking care of mommy and daddy. I have my own life to take care of. So
Mm.
that puts them in some kind of isolation. It might be caused through death. So one partner might lose the other to death, right? And the
Right.
person lives alone, right? The person lives alone. I know of situations too where the children might recommend that they go into a nursing home.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but there's absolute resistance to that because they're quite comfortable with their environment and in their environment. That's all they
Mhm.
know, right? So
Right.
kind of, dislocate and move to somewhere else. They rather to stay alone, right? So
Mm.
those things are some of the things why, it might be relocation to another place, right? So they might relocate to a new town, a new countryside. They do not have relationships there, and so they probably are hesitant too as to who come into their world, into their private space.
Right.
They stay alone, right?
And as you
Those are
mentioned, that deep connection with
the
people
deep
around.
connection,
Mhm.
yes, around, right? So those are some of the common issues. You realize that seniors live alone, or they might live with others, but then they don't care for them. This is this issue of ageism, and
Right.
yeah, they just feel as if they become now useless, and the
Mhm.
resources that they once had no longer needed. And that's why I say to you that sometimes they are in the crowd, in the family, but they feel
Right.
lonely because they say, hey, you're old somebody, you go sit down at young people time.
Mhm. So the
Mm,
communication is not there. The connection is
communication is
not
not
there. The
there.
relationship, the
Yeah,
relation.
right. Some of them might be going through illnesses, chronic illnesses, physical illness, right? Some of it might just be mental issues too. For some, it might just be Alzheimer, right? And it might be in the early stage, but you realize that this kind of attention that is needed it's just not there. So they are in the
Mhm.
family, but they just feel as if they are second best, or they
Mhm.
take a back seat, right? Or or they might tell too many stories and they keep saying it over and over, and they're tired of hearing it. So boy, you just stay one side, right?
Mm.
All of those kind of things. And they realize too that there are children who do not deal very well with their parents getting old. And so they have
Yes,
issues too,
yes, yes, yes.
right? And
That
for some,
acceptance of
yeah,
seeing
lack of
mommy, daddy,
acceptance.
who was
Yeah,
this
mommy
strong
was looking like this,
individual.
daddy was walking like this, and they wrestle, they come to an existential crisis and they wrestle with it. And they don't know how to relate to them because in their mind's eye, they're not supposed to look like that. And sometimes the
Right.
children wrestle too with the possibility of them getting old. So there are persons who wrestle with death and dying, and there are those who wrestle with aging, right? So there are persons who get mentally, worked up. I don't want to get old. If I get
Mm-hmm.
old, what am I going to look like?
Right, right.
How old do I want to be? I don't want to be old, that I
Yes,
become incapacitated and, you
exactly.
know, depending on persons. So there are persons
Mhm.
who wrestle with it, and it is transferred to the parents. And so
Mhm.
the resentment at aging comes, and it
Right.
goes to the lack of care
And
that
then
they.
the other manifestations of isolation and loneliness.
Oh yes, oh yes.
I am so happy we're not lonely this evening, Mr. Smith. We're joined by some of our followers and viewers. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us online, and feel free to post your comments as you have been listening. He is telling us everything as it pertains to loneliness. So post your questions, any concerns that you may have, post them, and who knows, you may get some free counseling advice. All right, so as we move the conversation along, tell us some statistics that now currently exist as pertains to loneliness and older adults.
All right, so I'll give you some as it relates to um to older adults, because loneliness is quite subjective and can't actually be measured, can be manifested, but can't be measured. But according to a recent United Nations data, it said by 2050, sounds interesting. By 2050, 1 in 6 people in the world will be over age 65, and that is 16% of the world's population. And that will be up from 1 in 11 that was in 29, right? So there's a moving up. He said the number of persons aged 80 years or over is projected to triple from 143 million, which obtained in 2019, to 426 million by the year 2050. So you realize that there's an increase in the aging population, and
Right.
so as there's an increase, there is a higher propensity for persons to experience loneliness, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
that is the data that we are working with,
Mm-hmm.
and 2050 is the
It's not,
target. But yeah,
and
mhm.
2050 is not far away.
It might sound that way, but it's not far away at all, you know. And it is said that persons are now living longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Persons are now living longer, and because that happens now, you're going to have an increase in the aging population. And
Right.
then you have to look, to see how many persons have that psychosocial support, that psychological support, that familial support, that neighborly support. That will
Right.
increase as the
Right.
population gets old as well.
So as we look towards an aging population and loneliness and increase in loneliness and isolation, what are some of the medical conditions that can be developed as a result of loneliness? Because we need to really unpack loneliness so
Mhm.
we don't leave anything covered under the carpet. What are some of the medical conditions?
Oh man. Before I get to that too, I'm going to start with depression, right? And depression is a clinical diagnosis. So you must be diagnosed because there are criteria, right, as it relates to what depression is. So some person might say, boy, I feel depressed today. But then it's not necessarily depression. But for
Mm.
the elderly, according to Erickson, it's final stage of development of the human. When it comes to that age, probably 65 and over, he called it integrity versus despair, right?
Activity
So
versus
after a
despair.
while now, you reach that age and you start to look back at your life. You start to look back at your younger days. You start to
Mm-hmm.
look back whether or not you made the right choices,
Mm-hmm.
if you actually attained your goals and your dreams, right? When you look back, did I make an invaluable contribution to society? What
Mm.
position I had? Did I give up my best? Do I have regrets? If I have a chance to do things over, would I do them differently? Right?
Mm.
And so if you measure up and you're proud of your achievement, that is integrity, right? But
Mm.
if you realize that, boy, I made some missteps, and the missteps are here haunting me now. I am
Despair.
lonely because I made some wrong choices. I never had good relationship with my children when they
Oh
were
my gosh.
small. So I am
Mm.
kind of reaping the results right now.
Oh
Right?
no.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I possibly did not choose to get married, just for argument's sake. So I'm living alone. They might have regrets. Probably if I had taken care of my partner would still be around. If I invested
Mm.
in my relationship, then my partner would have not have left me for someone else. That
Oh
kind
my
of thing.
gosh.
And so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
fall into despair, right? And that despair now brings upon them depression. So
A
they go
myriad
depression.
reasons, myriad
There is
factors. Yeah.
remorse, there is bitterness, there is unforgiveness of oneself and even others. Some get depressed because they believe that death has stolen their partner from them. And because of death, I am now lonely. I am now alone. So they're angry, right? They're angry at God. Why didn't God know that? Why I'm going to feel depressed and I can't exist without taking antidepressants? Why did God allow this to happen to me? Right? So all of these things they start to wrestle with, and it brings depression. So depression now is one of the things that can happen as a result of loneliness, right? They can't connect, right? Mother's Day is around, and they look at the neighbor, and other children are taking out the parents to lunch or to dinner, and they are there, right? Sometimes they are ill and in the hospital, and they see that they have visitors coming to bring them rose, and they have nobody, right? It brings this feeling of depression, right? Now, depression also has associated features with it, because depression, it is said, can elevate the pressure, right? The high blood pressure, the hypertension, it can elevate it. It can break down the immune system. So the person becomes susceptible to all kind of illness. You have the influenza so very often, it gives rise to diabetes, and all kind of things start to happen. It allows the cancer cells to grow because the immunity
Oh
is
my gosh.
right. So you realize that the elderly will go to the doctor for many and varied reasons, right? And you might just start with a thought.
Loneliness.
Loneliness is a thought. I feel lonely. I feel uncared
Yeah.
for. Nobody loves me, right? Why am I here? There are elderly persons who wrestle with suicide, suicidal ideation. They have even made attempts,
Mm.
unsuccessful attempts, and some have completed the attempts. And
Oh
that's why I
my.
say to persons that when persons commit suicide, there's always a story behind it. And the story might be untold, right? But they just believe that, boy, it doesn't make sense I exist anymore. It doesn't make sense I live because nobody wants me around. Nobody wants to take my ideas. Nobody wants to hear my story. The grandchildren don't come around. I wish I had grandchildren to say grandma or grandpa, and they are not around. They
Oh
don't know
wow.
me, and so the depression comes in, the suicidal thoughts come in. I think the world would be a better place if I am not around. and so they wrestle with that again, right?
Oh wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow. It's
yeah.
it's it's chilling. It's chilling to listen to those issues that can occur from loneliness and just the thought that so many seniors feel isolated and unloved and uncared for.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that this information will reach as many as those persons as possible so they can know that they are loved, they are indeed valued. And your comments are being backed up by one of our viewers, Miss Joan
Okay.
Boozy. She's saying so true, so true. So we really and truly need to look at the symptoms then. So our seniors, when they start to exhibit these symptoms, they can say, hold on, this look like
Mm-hmm.
loneliness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So before it reached to the suicidal thoughts, what are some of those symptoms?
All right. So symptoms, you might feel a sense, you might feel low self-esteem, mm-hmm, because they feel that they can't measure up, they're not good enough. But as it relates to depression, how do I know that I'm depressed? Right? You realize that you might even be withdrawn. You don't want to see anybody, right? You
Mm,
realize that you are living with remorse. You
okay.
become perpetually teary eyed, or you're crying constantly. Things that
Mm-hmm.
you normally enjoy, normally enjoy. Probably you used to watch a nice movie. You don't want to turn on the television anymore. There are persons who might go to bed and can't sleep, you know,
Mm,
interrupted sleep, or they can't sleep any at all. There are persons who might oversleep. There are persons who might lose their appetite, and there are those who just have an increase in appetite, right? Some persons
oh.
might be easily irritated. You get upset quite easily. You're easily angered, right? Even for no reason. You get up and you just feel sad and you just don't know why you're sad, right? All of these
Mm.
things are symptoms that, hey, I am getting depressed. And guess what? These symptoms must persist for at least 2 weeks.
Oh,
At least 2 weeks, straight 2 weeks. You just feel out of it, right? You don't want to go to church. For the elders who go
okay.
to church, you don't want to go to church, right? You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to see the light of day,
So,
right?
counselor, you're saying once we start to feel these symptoms for a protracted period of 2 weeks, we need to
Yeah,
start
at
getting
least
help.
2 weeks. Yeah, you need help. You need to talk,
Seek
right?
seek help.
You need to seek help. You need to find a counselor, to find a therapist. You can even talk to your physician, to your doctor, who can probably refer you to a professional counselor or psychiatrist, or psychologist. But you realize that it is not good, because depression can tear at you mentally. It can tear at you psychologically. It can tear at you emotionally. It can be a
Mm.
little cancer that spreads, right? A
Oh,
figurative
wow.
cancer that spreads. That is the seriousness of it. There are elderly persons right now who can't sleep naturally. So they are constantly on medication to fall asleep. And they
So
become
this
so
loneliness can lead to cancer.
it can, right? It can, because as I said, your immunity becomes so weak that you're so susceptible, right?
Mm.
You're not eating properly, right? The right diet, nutrition is just not there, right? And so you realize that people start to deteriorate
Hmm.
mentally. It is
And
also, mhm,
unfortunately, sorry to interject. Unfortunately, a comment came in from Miss Valerie Donaldson. She was saying she knows of a lady because of
yeah,
depression that she carried over the years. She
mhm,
eventually committed suicide.
sure, sure.
Um, we don't want no more of those incidents.
No, no,
So
right?
we are unpacking the loneliness issues this
Hmm.
evening. So
Hmm. Hmm.
if it passed in 2 weeks, once it reaches a 2 week mark,
Yes, man.
help.
The alert should be up. The alert, and nobody knows you better than you. So,
True.
you must say to myself, no, I don't feel the energy. So there's lack of energy. There's lack of motivation. You don't want to comb your hair. You don't want to wash. You don't want to do the dishes. You don't feel like cooking, right? You just don't feel
Regular
that
chores,
energy.
regular
Really, that
activities,
force.
regular
No,
daily activities that
that's
you
a
would be
no,
doing.
no. You're just out of tune. You realize that, boy, you don't have the drive to even go to church. If those who are religious and go to church, you don't want to read your Bible, you don't want to pray, you don't want to do anything productive. You just want to just be there like that, right? It's a sign that something is happening,
Something is wrong.
something is wrong, right? And I say to persons, it takes a strong person to say that something is wrong with me and I need help. That is where the strength comes in.
All
Yeah.
right. So when they have identified that they need help, how do we reduce loneliness, or what can seniors do to protect themselves against loneliness?
All right,
First
good.
of all, yeah,
So,
to protect against.
so first of all, there are different activities for that seniors can get themselves involved in. And I am proud to say that, as a part of what I do for Love and Restoration Ministries, we formed a senior citizens club in a community in St. Elizabeth called Horton.
Oh,
And man, the club is vibrant. It's the first for the community. And the seniors, they link up with the National Senior Citizens Club, and they have Bible quizzes. They have sports. If you see some of the seniors running and really, yeah, they cook, they do crocheting, all kind of things. So get themselves
it
involved.
sounds like Golden Designs need to visit St. Elizabeth.
Yes, man. And they're involved in charity. So there's a soup kitchen and they'll come and they'll cook. When it comes to Jamaica Day, you draw on their resources and they tell you how to make bami, and dokunu and all kind of thing, and they feel
All
alive.
kind of nice things.
Yes, man, because here you are now drawing on them, on their skill sets, and they feel alive that I am needed now. So getting involved is one. If you're in church, just make sure you join a nice group at church, probably the ladies' ministry, reach out to another senior citizen, reach out to a friend, find something to talk about. If it's an issue that you have with your children and there's unforgiveness, have a little family discussion and say, all right, life is too precious, life is too short, I'm going to let it go, and
Right.
reconnect. If they are reaching out at you, be willing to just accept their hand and say, hey man, life is precious. I want to enjoy the rest of my life. Just
Let
be
it go.
free. I'm
Let
going
it
to let
go.
it go.
As the young people, they say, let it go, let it go, let it go.
Yeah, so get involved. I mean, it's COVID time, but visiting the neighbor, and as I said, reaching out for help, just talking and letting it out. A number of time we have some things built up on the inside and it becomes chronic, it becomes hardened, it becomes toxic, and it takes away from our happiness, it takes away from our joy, our free spiritedness. So we have to look within ourselves and say, hey, what can I let go? How can I choose happiness? But getting involved, don't think that because I am old, I can't enjoy myself. That's not true. That's not true.
Right. Or
Yeah.
they can call Love and Restoration Ministries. Tell
And
us
call Love
about
and
that.
Restoration Ministries. Or they can call Shelly Ann.
So, Golden Designs is always here for our seniors. So true.
Absolutely, absolutely,
But St.
absolutely.
Elizabeth, the bread basket parish sounds extraordinary, extra beautiful by you just telling us about that senior club. Tell us about Love and Restoration Ministries.
All right, so come the 10th of this month will be 8 years old. And it came out of a time in our lives as a family. My wife and I, we were going through some low times. We had some disappointments in the church and with the church. And we realized that there were so many persons like us in the church who were hurting, you know, and could not have that avenue to vent and to be, you know. And I realized that even as a psychologist, that person will come to me and there are things that will say to me that they would say, I can't say it in church. I can't say it to my pastor. I can't even testify about it because I'll be judged, that kind of thing. And, the Lord just gave the idea to me that, hey, why not have a forum where people can come, receive healing, receive
Mm.
restoration, just let it go and just go back to church. right? Because there are times when the church is just centered around the spiritual man, but
Oh,
the emotional man, the social man is neglected, right? So love and restoration ministries, we minister to the whole man, the body, the soul, and the mind. So as a psychologist, my services are free with love and restoration ministries. So I do a reach,
wow,
people reach out
wow.
to me. Yeah.
Commendations to
Yeah,
you,
man,
Mr.
I give my
Smith.
services free for that. You know, my wife and I, we are integrally involved. We are the two directors, and we cater to the social needs of persons. So as much as we can, we source, help them to source food for the poor, houses for the indigent, right? We
Mm,
have a soup kitchen for the needy, right? We offer
wow.
scholarships so we can to children who are going to school. You know, persons reach out all over to us, persons with cancer, and we can just sponsor them. We give persons empowerment. We have marriage seminars. Every year we have marriage seminars. We have those for the singles. We have those for the aged, right? We are just involved in the lives of people because we believe that we need to minister to the whole man. You
Well,
understand?
well, as Miss Dorothy Forsyth says, God bless you, sir.
God bless you, Miss Forsyth. Thank you for that. Yes, and it
Because
brings me alive.
with your vast experience, knowledge, and qualifications, you didn't have to do this. And so we thank you. And now knowing that you have a senior club, hopefully Golden Designs and Love and Restoration Ministries can partner
Oh,
in
certainly.
in the future.
Oh, certainly. Yes.
So as we talk about loneliness and the community, what can families do? Let us look at the immediate community around seniors within the home.
Mm-hmm.
How can families help to reduce the effects of loneliness on their loved ones?
They need to be sensitive as to the emotional turmoil that they can go through, right? They have to restructure the thoughts and, reach out to them and just be understanding that, hey, they are going through a phase, and we ought to be there to support them. The love must turn up, the support must turn up,
Turn
communication
up.
must turn up, everything must turn up. But it starts with the cognition. How do I see my elderly parents? How do I see my grandparents? Right? Reaching out to them and just looking through their eyes and say, hey, I'm going to reach there too. I'm not always going to be young. It's a continuum and I am heading there. Right? If you're not living with them, call them, WhatsApp them, video call them. Remember their birthdays. Remember their anniversaries. Remember them on Valentine's Day, right? Carry them out for ice cream.
Oh,
See,
not only the children.
just take them out.
So they won't say ice cream too sweet.
They have some vegetable ones now.
Okay.
Yes, take them out. Give them a hairdo. So if it's a female, say, okay, man, gonna get a nice hairdo. Still take them out and give them pedicure and manicure and facial
Turn
and
up the love.
facial. Yeah, that's the whole works, man. And allow them to feel valuable. Allow them to feel good about themselves. Build their self-esteem.
But
Affirm them.
you said something very important at the beginning, though, when we were defining loneliness. You said that some seniors may feel isolated because of family members who are carrying guilt. So, what about those family members who have isolated their relatives, their parents, their grandparents, due to some family issues, family guilt that they may have? How
Mhm.
can they overcome that guilt, that hurt, to no go past and say, I'm gonna turn up the love over my elderly?
It reaches a point where there has to be reflection, you know, and introspection, and looking at the meaning of life and how valuable life is and how valuable others around us. And it goes even beyond just being the elderly, right? And we see persons now and we might not see them again. And so because of that, we have to seize the opportunity right now to love, right? right now. So they have to decide, the boy, I'm going to let it go. And if they need help to do it, then they also need to seek help and say, all right, these things I've been carrying for childhood. When I was a child from 11, 12, right? My mother is 90, my father is 90, I am 50, I am 40. And I want to reach out, but I can't. Name your emotion. Be honest with yourself. This is how I am
Mm.
feeling. I am feeling bitter. I am feeling angry at my parents. Why did they give me away? Right? Why didn't they send me to school? Why didn't I finish school? All of these things, right? But you look at them and they're advancing in age, and you're saying that no, this bitterness, it doesn't help. It keeps me trapped. It keeps me a prisoner. I am not happy. I can't sleep. It's bearing on me. So forgiveness is not even for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. It is all about you. I am free in my mind. I want to be happy, right? But I can't because this cancer is eating away at me. I need to be free like a bird, right? I have the key. I need to open the lock and just fly. I want to be free. I want to be happy again, right? I want to enjoy my relationships. So I'm going to let it go, right? So it takes that introspection, that point in your life, that crossroad where you say, no, what is the meaning of life?
Mm-hmm.
People are precious. If I don't forgive and I lose them, then I might not even forgive myself for not having said anything to them. So let me seize the opportunity right now. That becomes
Seize,
important.
yes, seize
Yeah.
the opportunity, seek help, and also to let it go. So we're telling the young people as well who are going through that process of hurt
Yes.
and to let it go as well, but seek the proper guidance.
The guidance, seek the proper
Mhm.
guidance. You want help, just seek the guidance. Seek the guidance. There are persons out there who are trained to help, and it does work. So just seek it. Right? And as I said, there's no weakness in seeking help. I see it as strength. To say,
It's
I am
growing.
feeling like this, I feel inadequate, and I need help, I am going to seek it. That is the strength. That is the
Okay.
strength. Yeah.
Wonderful. So now we're going to move the strength from family to community.
Mm-hmm.
How, as communities, especially when we're looking forward to 2050, when there will be more aged persons within
Mm-hmm.
our communities, what can communities do to assist our seniors who are feeling loneliness and isolation?
For one, I go back even to be an advocate of the Senior Citizens Club. There are persons with vision in committee. There are committee leaders who can even bring a group together and form a club. Have a team that will visit an elderly person. Even if they live alone, visit them, talk with them, make them a project. If the person is even poor and doesn't have it, just have that heart to reach out to them as a community. Look out for them, look out for them, be there, be like a child to them, a good neighbor, a good Samaritan. Just reach out to them. Allow the community spirit to be one that is just endearing to elders, and they don't feel isolated, they don't feel discriminated against,
And
right?
what we're talking about is not only the church. When we say the community, we mean citizens
Oh
associations,
yes, man.
schools, church.
Yes,
So
man.
because we
Neighborhood
know the
watch.
church is doing a lot within
Yeah,
our
neighborhood watch,
communities.
association, whatever the community groups are, right? Involve them if you're having a community forum, involve them, get their perspective on things. You're having a Jamaica Day thing in your community, involve them, right? Get them, dress them up, make them look like what things are happening in the good old days. Because they like to talk about the good old days. Don't
Oh
take that from
yes,
them.
oh
Don't
yes,
take that from them at
good
all.
old food.
Yes, but just have that atmosphere where they feel as if they're not discriminated against, and they're welcome. Have things, tell the young people how important it is to treat them. So even the young ones in the community, you're bringing them in it, bring them to the forum and let them look at how they are treated, and all that kind of thing. Get the young people to be volunteers as well.
And get
You
some
know,
mentorship
get
program.
some mentorship program.
Grandma and grandson, granddaughter.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Institute even a WhatsApp group, and allow them to be on that WhatsApp group. Teach them to use technology, you know. teach them to use smartphone and just have a nice community WhatsApp where
Exchange
they
of
can reach
knowledge.
out. Yes, man. Yes, they need it. They need it. Right? And too many persons die lonely and die alone. We need each other.
Okay, and you can tell when we have learned people within our conversation, because Dr. McCoy Davis is saying enjoying the conversation, seeking help is the right choice.
Yes,
Nothing is wrong with seeking help. It shows growth.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's growth. It's growth. Yeah.
I'm telling you, counselor, I don't feel like I want to end this conversation, but I know I can't pay you for your time. And you have given us so many great tips, and I'm really honored that you actually agreed and come on and have been given to us so freely and pouring into us as individuals, as seniors, as communities, what we can do to combat loneliness. So my final question to you is, speak to your seniors, speak to the seniors within Jamaica and, of course, the world, because we are on the internet. What can they do? What sort of encouragement you want to leave with our seniors who are going through loneliness?
Absolutely. I want to challenge their cognition. I want to challenge their mind and their thinking. Seniors, if you're hearing me, or you'll hear me afterwards, you are absolutely awesome. You are precious. You are valuable. You set the foundation for us, right? You were heroic in your doings. You contributed to the development of Jamaica or your community or your country, wherever you are, right? And you're still needed. You still have your place. You can impart knowledge to the younger ones coming up. You can still make a contribution to even your fellow senior citizens. You can still get yourself involved in community activities. I don't want you to close down and die mentally. As long as you have the ability to just say to yourself that my life not done, me not dead. I when not dead, not call it duppy, right? I am still around. I am awesome. Seniors, love yourself, embrace yourself, be proud of who you are. You have years of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. You're awesome teachers and storytellers and great grandparents and all that kind of thing. Just enjoy it. Just look at yourself and say, "Whoa, go me! I am awesome." Right? I am awesome. And just reach out, man. And if you want help, seniors, talk to somebody. Find somebody and talk to. And just let it out. Still look about yourself, man. Your hair might be golden, but just style it nicely and say, "Boy, I love me and I am precious. I am gifted. I am purposeful. I am purpose driven. I am loving and I am lovable," and affirm yourself. Be proud of who you are. I don't have a hat now, Shelly, but I lit my hat off to all our elderly persons. Enough respect, enough love, and you're dear to my heart. Just be
Thank you.
proud of who you are. Yeah.
Thank you
Jamaica
so much.
is better
Thank you.
because of what you did.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Many, many thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. I did not want to end this conversation, but we have to go. Um,
Yes.
Viewers, I am imploring you to subscribe and follow Golden Designs. Golden Conversations is your place to get the right information you need. As Mr. Smith says, to just love up on yourself. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you to those on the live and those who will be watching the replay. Thank you so much. You are superb. I am Shelly Thompson with
Paul Smith.
saying have a wonderful evening. I leave you to say the last words, Mr. Smith.
Thank you so much for those who have tuned in. Thank you so much for those who have participated by typing. And I just love you for being on and just continue to support the program. and you are just awesome. And I say to you, just love yourself, cherish yourself. You're special, you're awesome. Choose to be happy and enjoy the here and the now.
Miss Celestine, you are awesome. You are love. Come out of that cupboard. We love you. We
Yes,
love
ma'am.
you.
Come back at the cover. We love you.
Yes,
Mr.
come
Collins,
out of
we
the
love you.
cupboard. Thank
Yes.
you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.